Hello everybody, Justin here, and Cinnamon in the background. She's going to be the star of today's show. And what I want to share with you is something really cool. Last video we had Harley kind of show you one aspect, one fractal moment in time to train a wild horse when you bring them home. So this is kind of a other end of that spectrum. So I'll save a lot of video and showing you backing up to the round pen, asking Cinnamon to come out, let her get into a space that she's got to be comfortable with. And I want to show you how we get to that level. So again, I'm Justin Dunn, American Mustang School. This is Cinnamon. She's a wild Mustang horse out of Nevada, Calico Mountains, Nevada. And she's a very, very special horse. And I'm going to share that with you in this video, kind of give you an understanding. I was riding Cinnamon on the third day, and she's kind of a bit of an enigma, and I'll explain. I wanted to try something different than all of the other wild horses that I had trained. I wanted to do some things as a test. I wanted to see if I could do something that I hadn't normally done. And here's why. See, wild Mustang, they're a clean slate. They don't know to fear you unless you show them. They don't know what pain is unless you show them. They don't know that you're supposed to do a bridle first and then legs. They don't know those things. So I thought, well, what if I don't use ropes and I do the 5-part series, create draw, get my hands on her, get on her bareback, don't even use a pad, saddle, don't even show her that stuff first, and then get on her back and then ask her to move with just my legs and no reins, no ropes. And it worked. And I'm going to take you through that process and show you. And then I've done it many times since then. It's pretty cool because when you can learn how to think and do things to become, create your reality, and you have a horse as your accountability partner, consider that as like a micro level of understanding. And then it's going to spin out into the macro, the bigger perspective, bigger understanding. And I'll explain that as we go through this. So this video, pretty much how to ride a wild, uninterrupted by man, because you got to think, she just got out of the trailer. I'm going to kind of speed through the process to save video, show you how to interact with a once wild horse, which is her, and kind of pretend she is wild, but we're going to go through this process pretty quickly. And how to ask her to come help you gain control of what you can. And that's your thoughts, your emotions, your attitude, your actions, the 4 things we can control. So basically, I'm going to ask her as an accountability partner to help me define me. In other words, I want to be able to see through her what I'm thinking and doing and the feedback from her to make changes to do it again. And then that's where you hand your will over to the horse, and then she will show me how to control my own will. In other words, all the beliefs, all the philosophies, all the rules, all the mechanics, all the traditions, all the things that we know, we can truly know. So I can present to her, observe feedback, make changes, and then I can develop this relationship of understanding where, wow, I'm actually using this as the sacred art of horsemanship, as a set-apart way to study myself through the practice of horsemanship. I get to define me with the help of her, and it's a beautiful thing. When they figure out that's what you're doing, they will step up and reveal things to you that you can't force out of them, you can't take it. They will willingly give it when you attract it. I'm going to go through a lot of things, and it's going to stem from 5 areas of our lives that we all want to consciously ascend in: our health, our wealth, our happiness, our relationships, and our spirituality. And horses are the best way I've ever found to do it and help others do it, to transition from where you are to where you want to be. Doesn't matter what it is. It's case specific to each individual. Horses will adapt to you no matter what. Now there is a formula. There is an ascension in consciousness formula. And some of my other videos have touched on that more in depth, but we're gonna kind of bounce through those. And this is gonna be in a micro level with discovering yourself, you know, going inward, create a reality, become something. What you think you do, you become. So on the macro, you can attract to you what you need to create the reality. And see, it's so easy when you start to do what everybody needs to do, is develop awareness. But the most unique quality in a human is consistency. It's very unique. A lot of people are inconsistent. Horses understand consistency, and they love incremental progressions, staying consistent, and they understand it. And this is what we're going to talk about. In this video, just trust me, you're only going to get a sense of this, maybe a little bit of understanding, but in order to really capture the essence, experience is what it is. You have to understand the sense of it and the understanding of it, merging those together, you get the essence of what I'm going to try to show you. It's a beautiful thing. It's one of those things that I've really loved, got to enjoy, share with other people. So this video is how to ask a wild horse to ride bareback and bridleless. And I'm going to skip along and show you those steps. Please understand that it takes the time it takes. It's the law of compensation. So if you have a fruit tree and you want to get apples off of that fruit tree and you plant a seed, the law of compensation says it's going to take the time it takes for that tree to grow and bear fruit so you can eat an apple. To get to this level, it's going to take time. And I want to share with you words that I use. I'm going to play with this horse rather than work this horse. I'm going to invest time into this horse rather than spend time in this horse. Invest time with her rather than spend time with her. So she'll come right to me. Let me just demo that. If I push some pressure on this hip right here, you know, we've already done our grooming for mindset and we haven't established communication. So basically we're at that level in the 5 levels of horsemanship. But we'll just pretend she came out of the trailer. We've already done our hands in our pockets. We walked around. Day 3, I was riding her. So this will basically pick up on day 3. You know, I'm pushing her around. I'll probably put her in this halter. You know what? I'm not. I was going to put her in this halter and show you 5-part series, but I have other videos that show you 5-part series. So let's just skip right to, we'll pretend day 3's here. I can move her around. So she's already going to draw to me, but let me just, let's think. Say she wouldn't come to me. Let's push her away. Go ahead, babe. I don't want to kiss into this microphone. Go ahead. Go ahead. Good job. So like she's cruising away and I set up some cones to know where I could stay in the frame. She probably went out, but what I'll do is put some pressure on that hip and then draw her to me. Draw, draw, draw. Yay, good girl. Touch her when you can. You start moving down both sides. Get them really, really comfortable. You know, it's kind of winter and right now it's winter and for some reason the dry air, when you touch these horses, you shock. And that's what's happening. But anyway, you touch her and get her real comfortable both sides, picking up feet. Ask her to come with you, like hook and eye. We've done other videos on this, but it's like get her attention, hook and eye, ask her to come on. Ask her to come with you. You've got her walking around. She'll follow. You can stop. You can ask her to back up like in the 5-part series. I'll just start real soft and easy. And good job, rubber. We can ask her to do 5-part series before we ever got a rope on her. And here's where I was like, what if I could get on her back? Because she was so quiet. So each horse is an individual, guys. So you got to understand, it's like this. I wouldn't use my wife's car to pull my horse trailer. So I wouldn't use this horse to pull a big stagecoach. Just one example. So it's kind of like, let's see if she's capable of doing what I'm thinking of doing and present to her and ask her to do it. And there is a method, we'll go through that, of doing that. And it's like, how do we know? Well, let's ask her. We're not going to force her because we have rules. We never force a horse to submit with pain or fear. You know, fear of pain, changing restrictions or putting restrictions in the mind, tensions in the body. So as long as everything's lining up and we're flowing, and it's like, I wonder if I could get on her back and then ask her to move with just my legs and maybe use my hands to help guide her with her face, kind of in a reverse, because before I would have put a lead rope halter on her, done 5-part series, get her used to ropes, know that she will move in laterals, know that she understands pressure on her face means something before I get my body up here. But what if we could do it this way? What if I could get her so calm and comfortable with me, you know, and I play on this side, and I get a mounting block, and I lay over her back, and I get back down, and you know, whatever the process is, which I didn't even do a mounting block. I just started kind of jumping up there, humping over her back, come back, slide down, do the other side. She didn't seem to care. So it's like, well, let me just ask her. And I would jump around, bump around, and yeah, good job, Sam. She would run away. And it's like, cool, let's go ask her questions. So I just move her, keep going, and then push that hip, create some draw, rub her to a stop, and start over. And then maybe I'd go on this side, and then I'd go back to this other side. Once we got to, and I'm going to try not to skip any steps so that you can really understand. Once we got to, she wants to stand there. She's not tense in the body. She doesn't have restrictions in the mind of confusion, doubt, fear, anxiety, none of those things. I knew that she was nice and relaxed. She'll follow me anywhere and pick up her feet, play with her tail, and brush her. We've invested a lot of time to create this relationship of understanding. I didn't force her to do anything. I basically, when I'm going to put my body up on her back, she doesn't fear me because I've never showed her to fear me. So it's kind of like, well, I'm going to get up there. Worst thing that can happen is she does get a little startled, and I come down. I've come off a lot of horses, so it's not that hard. We got soft dirt, and you know, bareback, she could shoot out from under me. Okay, then I'll just come on down, and we'll start over, and progress in increments, and understanding these laws of nature, law of compensation, you know, law of rhythm, you know, law of vibration. And I'm going to pause here for a second just to explain some other things you may or may not know, and we could go into this in the 5 main areas of our life, talking about health and wealth and all these things, but there's alignments that take place in everything. And you may or may not know this, but things vibrate at a frequency. So today, I may be vibrating kind of high. Maybe I drink too much coffee. Maybe I'm cold and shivering, trying to get warm. Maybe yesterday I wasn't. Maybe in 3 days from now, I'll be vibrating differently. You know, things happen. So in developing a relationship with a horse, you've got to kind of understand there are variables that are unknown. Planets are measured in vibrational frequency. Maybe the stars didn't align that day. You wanted to get up here on her back. That's okay. You're not defeated. You didn't fail. It's like, well, let's keep moving to gain the knowledge in movement to develop the understanding. You know, let's develop a skill. Let's get some experience for the challenge that we've wanted to achieve. You know, goals are great. You got to have a purpose. You got to have a flexible plan, and you got to take action. There's incremental steps to take. If you go too fast too soon, a variable will arise in the equation to equal an outcome to give you that information. So these are what we can control, guys. 4 things. Our thoughts, emotions, that's internal. That's what we think. That's what we feel. No one else can see but us. Reflections of that will come out in attitude and action. Attitudes change. That's why it's very important to understand that we have control of our attitude. You will see her attitude change. She may be cold. The stars may be not aligning for you to get on her back. Maybe you're good and she's not, or she is and you're not. The synchronizing is real important. The harmony, the balance, the not forcing, the attracting. All of these things come in what? Practice. We have to practice this to become better at it. So the video is how to ride a wild Mustang bareback and bridleless, which I'm getting ready to show you. The wild part, uninterrupted by man. That's what wild means. So if I'm interrupting her, causing an aversion or an irritation or an obstruction in how she is thinking and feeling and processing information, I've got to become aware that that's what's happening and decrease that. Increase the ability for her to be comfortable in doing what we're doing at all times. If I ever want a realistic expectation of getting up on her back and riding her without a bridle, without a saddle, bareback, to get the sense and understanding to merge together through experience is the essence of sacred art of horsemanship, self-study, self-discovery, self-mastery, inputs from me, the machine, the vehicle of me, to her, and then let our bodies synchronize, our minds synchronize, our bodies synchronize, our spirits synchronize, our souls synchronize. It's that spirituality piece, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. It's really an amazing experience, we'll just call it that. So you got her out of the trailer, you've walked around with your hands in your pockets, you've brushed her, you've put pressure different places, you've created draw, you've decreased restrictions in her mind, tensions in her body. I'm gonna get her back in the frame. I don't want to kiss into this. Come here, baby. Come here. Let's stay in the frame. That's a good girl. So we'll ask her these questions. I've got her to where she wants to stand, she wants to stay. That's good. That's an invite. Let me bring her over here so you can see better. Come here, buddy. Come here, baby. Come here. She's like, no, I don't want to. Put some pressure there, create some draw there. Let's get a little closer to the camera. Good, good. Right there. Okay, we've got her to where we can move her. Again, I'm not forcing her with ropes, not connected with her. I'm applying pressure, release of pressure to communicate. Pressure means something, it's a question. Release of pressure is a thank you. Now I've got her to this point and I want to get on her back. So without further ado, we're gonna hop, get up on her back. What did you jump for? Okay, so we're making a video, things change. I'm fully confident that this horse would have stand here. I don't know what she jumped at, doesn't even matter. Laws of nature, gotta love it. So we're up here, okay? And you got to be in control of your thoughts, your emotions, your attitude, your action. Present to the horse what you expect from the horse. So would I want to just kick her to go and like, hee-haw? No, I would rather her wait, think, and I'll ask her a question. So let's ask her to back up just like we would do if we were on the ground. Yeah, she probably wouldn't know that day one, but why not try? You're going to come off your center, lean back, give some pressure, give some pressure. Whoa, she took a step. Good job. Release the pressure. Thank you. Suppose that she walked off without you asking, just kind of like what she did with me. Go ahead and go with it. So it's like, all right, well, let's just squeeze with both legs just a little bit and ask her to go forward. We're going to lean off center. We're going to squeeze. Nothing's happening. Maybe. How about a kiss? You've already done kisses on the ground to move her in directions. So if I'm leaning forward and I barely squeeze and I give her a kiss and she goes, great, now we're going. Does it matter where we go? Not really. We're riding around. And then I want to ask her to stop. I'm going to lean back. Maybe it doesn't work, maybe it does. It's one of those things you're going to test it, play with it. Day one, is it going to be perfect? No, it's a concept day. Second day is what? What's what day? What did she retain? What did I got to get better at it presenting? What did I retain based on the individual? Third day, polish it. So if this was the first day in which I've done this and I'm on her back, the pin's going to be a lot smaller so we don't gain a lot of speed, but I'm on her back and maybe she doesn't know stop. Maybe she just doesn't. Well, it's like, okay, let's just do what we can do and I'll start applying leg pressure. Maybe she's a go horse. Maybe she's not lazy, which this one is a very forward go horse. And in a smaller pin, I can ask her just to do one circle with me on her back. She's getting used to carrying me. And then when I'm ready to stop, I can just slide off and stop. And then I can ask her 5-part series and great, session's over. This is one example of 100 different ways. And sometimes it changes as we get on the path and the path becomes clear of what path we're on. I love making this video because I'm going to watch this when I'm 80 years old sitting in my rocking chair and be like, oh yeah, I remember that with Cinnamon. I remember doing all that. And I'm going to smile. So hello, Justin, 80-year-old Justin. Anyways, now we're like, okay, we've got her to where we got her stopped on the ground. We can get on her back. We can ask her to go. Now it's like turn. How do we get her to turn? I don't want to put a bridle on her, but I have a hand. What if I could reach down there and just push her neck? Or I could push her face. What if I could just push her face just a little bit? Yeah, just like that. And then release. What if I could do it again? Push her face on this side. Push this way. Good. We haven't gone anywhere. We got her yielding to our hands. She's already used to me being up here. We know we can go. In order for me to stop, maybe I have to get down, you know, just slide off and she stops. And we're in a small space, so it's from a walk, so it's not a big deal. But then I start going, okay, I've got her going and turning. And then she wants to stop. And well, it's like, cool, you know, because we've done enough. Let me just give you a little demo. Say this is a smaller pen. We're just riding in a circle. We're doing a circle. And then all of a sudden she just stops. And it's like, oh, good, that's what I want. And I'll lean back. And she takes a step back. And it's like, good job. Start letting her know when you're off centers, they mean something. So if I start leaning to the left and then I apply a right calf muscle, she's going to go to the left. And I keep that calf muscle on. And then I take it away. And then I lean off my center backwards. But I took the pressure away, which was a thank you. She took a deep breath. I need to take a deep breath. Sorry. That synchronizes us together. And then you start moving in motion. So that stop exercise I showed you in another video, that's going to come into play when you're teaching this exercise as well. So we're in a smaller pen. We're trying to show her balancing up here means something. If I stay centered, that's what she's going to want because it's easier for her to carry me when I am centered. If I come off centered, she's going to feel a difference in pressure. If I back it up with a pressure, a distinct pressure, then she can start to correlate, oh, that right leg means go left. Him leaning just off center to the left, applying that right leg, go left, great. Him leaning back, that means stop. Him leaning forward, squeezing with both legs, that means go. And then say we just wash, rinse, repeat this through law of repetition, and then she figures out very quickly, oh, a left leg this way, a right leg this way, sit back, stop, stay seated back, back up, and then go back to center, release all pressure, deep breath, relax the hips, the legs, relax the shoulders, hips, legs. Good job. Now you'll come out here and you do this the next day and you'll find out what's what. It's like, oh, I was putting too much pressure on her left side. She's spinning off to the left real fast. Or I was putting too much on the right side. She's spinning off to the right too fast. Well, then you get to make a change and then present again and observe feedback and then continue. You're incrementally doing things to get to this level to where you have such a depth of understanding of yourself. Like, what is my leg doing? I'm responsible for it. So I've got to consciously be aware I may be gripping her too tight. That's why she's going too fast. I may not be giving her a clear cue. Maybe a leg position 1 is what I need to be in, or a leg position 2, or a leg position 3 to maneuver the body parts. Those start becoming clear as you go on. So again, I handed over my will to this horse because I'm not going to force her. I'm going to ask her. Pressure is a question. Release of pressure, a thank you. You've taken away your ability to use a bridle and pull her face off. You've decreased all ability with hurting her with your legs because there's no spur. There's no saddle to interrupt the direct communication. So you'll find things that like, oh, this horse is very sensitive. I can twitch a toe in my boot and she'll like, what does that mean? I can turn a toe out and apply a baby pressure of calf muscle pressure for a question and ask her to move in this direction. And then it's like, okay, if she's that sensitive, do I need to step up anymore? No. Or how about I lean off center and she just moves in a direction? Yeah, that's what we want. I could ride her all day long without any real crazy pressures. She's like, why are you asking me all these questions? I honestly haven't been up here bareback riding this horse bridleless in a while. This is a school horse. My students ride her a lot. So I should say, to dial her into me, my pressures, my rhythms, my vibration, it takes about 15, 20 minutes, maybe an hour, dependent upon, you know, my alignments, her alignments, the synchronization process. It is a cold day. I'm kind of tense in my body. I know that. I like hot weather. I'm a hot weather guy. And so I got to take all of these things into account as we start to adapt to each other again and mesh. Let's stop right here so we can talk. and mesh together. And then maybe the alignments of the planets are having an effect on her. Maybe she feels a little different today. Maybe weather's affecting her. The things that we want to know get revealed through time, through investing this time, through playing together. So this is one fractal of our life together, this horse and I. We've been together since 2014. It's 2024, 10 years. Have I played with her just me, no one else for 10 years? No, this horse has probably had 500 different people ride her in a decade. She's gone through our camps for children with cancer. She's gone through our military programs. She was in the trail ride business. I mean, she's highly intelligent. She can adapt to hundreds of people, no problem. She's very affectionate. And she taught me law of gender, which is a feminine energy that we all possess. A man possesses feminine energy. And when I say she taught me about it, this horse is very strong, very powerful, 1,000 pounds of muscle. I'm not going to force her against her will. And if I do, it's not going to be a desirable response from her. It's going to be resentment or rebellion. So I offered her an opportunity to show me how to tap into feminine energy and be intuitive and create something with attraction. I want to attract her to me by never causing any restriction in the mind, tension in the body. Now, to say that, did it happen? Yes, but I trigger body response of relaxation so that the mind could free up. And then I did it for myself. You know, there's a rhythm to things. There's a harmony, which is an agreement. There's a balance. It's a give and receive relationship, not a take and keep. It's a breathing in, a breathing out. As we walk around together, there'll be things revealed to us. Like, she took off walking. I didn't ask her to do it. So I can start asking her questions as we walk. I can say, well, let's do a figure 8. And it's like, let's just do a circle. And it's like she wants to open her mouth and bite my foot. She never bites. She's just one of those redheads that's like, hey, quit asking me these questions. The kids don't ask me these questions. Why are you asking me these pinpointed questions? You know, I know her very, very well. She's a very, very sweet horse, very smart horse. But it's like in anything, it's the nature of the beast that when you have other people giving inputs to her, and then she develops habits that are like, well, that didn't mean anything. They asked me what Justin asked, but they didn't follow through. It didn't mean anything. She starts to get into a pattern of, I don't really want to do that. Well, then when I get up here and ask her specific pinpointed questions, she's like, I don't want you asking me these questions, these pinpointed questions like this. But then as we get going, we start to synchronize, and then she remembers, and then I remember. Maybe I was asking with too much pressure, and she's like, hey, that's too much pressure, and she lets me know with a reflection of her body. So then I calm it down. Maybe I'm distracted with creating a video, and she's like, hey, you're about 70% with me. Why don't you synchronize 100? Why are you not with me 100%? What's going on? She doesn't understand, you know, hey, I'm creating a video on YouTube. You need to help me. No, I have to present to her, observe her feedback, make changes, be consciously aware of my body, what I'm presenting, to get a realistic expectation of even doing what it is I wanted to do to create the video. So it's one example, guys. This is just one example, and I tried to run through it so you could get a 30,000 foot overview of a fractal of what it takes to ascend in consciousness, awareness, understand the formula, implement it into your horsemanship in the micro so that it'll spill over into the macro. So I'm just going to ask her to kind of walk around as we talk about 5 main areas of our life that horsemanship will help us in. So we'll talk about, I think, which is the single most important, which is health. So if I want to become very healthy, I've got to consciously be aware of what I'm doing to create health. Same with my horses. What am I feeding my horse? What am I feeding myself? What am I thinking and doing to become? What is she thinking and doing to become? How is it affecting her health? Is she one of those horses that can be really healthy in mind, body, and spirit in each engagement with me? Am I doing that too? Do I have realistic expectations? All of these things factor in the health piece. You know, am I eating optimal foods to fuel my body to perform at a level that will maintain throughout the day? Am I healthy enough to hop up on here and ask her questions rhythmically enough, consistently enough to be clear and deliberate? Or do I get tired, fatigued too quick? Am I forcing something? Health. The health of a relationship is important. Health of a body, health of a mind, health of the spirit, health of your soul. Those are all things that you incrementally are getting exposure and experience with communicating with a horse. It'll spill out over there into the macro, in the real world, away from the horse. It's a long-term thing. I've explained it in other videos like a stock chart. It's a starting point of where you start with intention to develop consciousness on your health. It's going to either trend up, there's going to be tiny little ups and downs, or it's going to trend down over a day, over a week, over a month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. If you start consciously developing awareness through the practice of horsemanship, you're training habits, you're training your thoughts, you're training habitual thoughts. Those habits will spill over into actions. Those actions will become a character. Habits are your character. You can change them. How do you do it? You control the 4 things you can control. You present to your horse. You observe feedback. Then you start realizing, wow, my thoughts do affect my actions. My actions do become habits. My habits do define my character for the horse as well. If I want a calm, quiet thinking horse, I've got to be a calm, quiet thinking person. If I want a calm, quiet responding to my questions horse, I've got to implement calm, quiet questions. You know, those are things that come in practice. You can get a sense of this through this video, but an understanding, when those sense and understanding merge, that's the essence of what it is we're doing. You get to really get depth. Your health will increase because you've already started a habit on a micro scale with your horse, to where when you leave away from the horse, you start to go, wait, I can actually think about this food, I can think about this situation, I can think about this conversation in a relationship, I can think about this financial situation, and I can incrementally start making changes to course correct or to discover better ways. Cause and effect, that law will come into play. We've done videos on all the different laws of nature. In order to, and I should say this, in order to truly understand, get into the essence of horsemanship, you have to know these horses abide in laws of nature. They were born in the wild, uninterrupted by man. They harmonize with nature. Vibrational frequencies affect them. They understand that very clearly. Cause and effect. They understand cause, they understand effect, they understand time. The only way to really understand time is the distance between a cause and an effect. In the micro, you get to see really close what a cause and effect are. If I cause this pressure on the side of this horse, the effect would be for her to do a circle. Turn a toe out, cause, here's the effect. Wasn't much time in between there, right? Now there's timing, there's rhythm, all these other laws come into effect, but that's how you learn them, through this practice. Then we go into wealth. Let's talk about finance. Money's pretty easy to kind of look at in the scheme of horsemanship. If I'm going to invest time with my horse, I'm going to get a return on an investment. I'm going to get feedback. I'm going to implement something, understanding the laws of nature, law of compensation. I'm going to plant this today. What I do today prepares me for tomorrow. I'm going to buy her time, and I want it valuable. How do I do that? Well, I got to become valuable. I get a lot of students come through here and they're like, hey, I want to train horses. I want to charge a certain amount, but people won't pay it. It's like, well, a lot of people will walk away from what they can't afford, and that's understandable. But there are people that will walk toward what they can. So you've got to become valuable. Become very valuable if you want to charge accordingly. How do you do this? Well, you implement something in your micro horsemanship that's very valuable. If you can change her life, you can change your life. If you can solve problems for the horse, you can solve problems for yourself. You just became qualified to help another horse. You just became qualified to help another person. You are qualified through implementing and practicing and creating value for yourself. I tell people the quick and easy way is stop chasing people that don't have any means to pay you. Don't chase them. Attract the ones that do. It's very simple. And these laws of nature will give you powers that the multitude do not understand nor implement. Horses know, they understand. They know how to create value in their life. They know how to become wealthy in their terms. They know how to prosper. They know how to benefit from the game of life. They know how to not get hurt and how to benefit. So that's just one little brief, that's a little fractal of information, how horsemanship could help you in your health and your wealth. Now let's move over into happiness. All of my horses are happy. I watch them run and play. They swish their tail, they eat their food, they drink their water, they lick their salt, they roll in the sand, they just play and they frolic all throughout the day. I have glass windows in the back of my house. I get to watch them anytime I want. And I get to watch them harmonize with each other. I get to watch them communicate with each other. All they need are food, water, friends, sun, air. I mean, it's natural, it's nature. They're not disconnected. Humans can get disconnected. They understand their thoughts, they understand their emotions, they understand their attitude and actions. They possess those same things. They understand the laws that are implemented or that are there, and they implement those to their advantage. So happiness, what is happiness? Well, it's doing something you find joy in. If I wanted to ask this horse to let me ride on her back and she didn't find any joy in it, it would be an aversion or an irritation or an obstruction in her happiness. So what do I got to do? I got to harmonize with it, right? Form an agreement. I got to say, hey, look, I'm going to hand over my will to you so you can show me how to control my will. I can't force you to submit with pain or fear. I mean, there's probably some level that I could do up here to start that path, but then it would end in disaster. So it's like, no, I'm going to put myself in a vulnerable position and ask you what it is that I need you to do so that we can maintain the the idea before we ever started, like, hey, I'd like to ride a wild horse bareback and bridle less. How do I do it? I can't tell her, hey, you got to do it this way. I can ask her, because I've trained many, many different horses and I didn't do it the same way I did with her. Sunshine, he was way different. We could do the same things, but he's way different. His is a lot slower. His is on his terms. He's not as sensitive. I got to be a little bit more pressure. And then there's other things that come into play. But getting back to this, happiness, find joy in it. Okay, so if you're finding joy in what you're doing, you're going to vibrate at a higher frequency. You're going to attract other people to you. People want to be around happiness, happy people. Like attracts like. So if you're repelling people, it is a reflection to you of what you need to change. It's just that simple. If that's what's going on, then you can realize very quickly, oh, I have control of this. I can change and attract the people I want by raising my vibrational frequency, becoming happy, finding joy, and doing that. So then we move into relationships. Again, if you're happy, you're going to attract people, you're going to have better relationships. If you're not in relationships that are conducive to you maintaining your health, your wealth, your happiness, that's the defining piece to developing relationships going forward. When I want to develop a relationship with a horse, I'm going to make sure I'm paying attention to the things that I can control. That is my thoughts, my emotions, my attitude, my action. Focusing on 5 areas of my life that are very important: my health, my wealth, my happiness, my relationships, my spirituality. The relationships factor in. All of it interconnects. There's no particular order. I only label them that way because health is pretty important. If you don't have your health, the other ones are going to be a little bit difficult. It starts inward. We have to go in and know ourselves. We have to know ourselves in any situation. Outside influences can have little to no effect on the stability inside of us. Where do you get to practice that? With a horse. If I'm on her back right now, outside influences will arise. I figured out what that was over there. These birds and squirrels and whatever they're doing over there got her attention right at the moment I get on her back. I did make a fire yesterday, so it's smoldering over there, and she's kind of eyeballing that smoke as it smokes up. That's an outside influence. I'm aware of it. Do I focus on it? No. What do I focus on? Me. Then I input to the horse, watch her feedback, make changes. So in training a wild horse, a lot of people go in and they're just focused on the horse, but they forget themselves. They're like, I'm not even aware of what my hand just did, but the horse is. I'm not aware of what my foot just did, but the horse is. I'm not in control of my 4 things. That's okay. It's not a good or bad value judgment. What it is awareness. You're ascending in awareness, conscious awareness. You can go, oh, I can think this. I can feel this. I can have an attitude based on that, and then I can have an action. And then I have a beautiful accountability partner. Her name's Cinnamon. She will reveal that back to me. Then I have an opportunity to make changes in those 4 things. Present again, observe feedback. Then you get into a feedback loop in a micro scale. Then you can take it away from the horse and you can do it in a macro scale in all areas of your life, your health, your wealth, your happiness, your relationships, your spirituality. So let's go into spirituality. That can be defined in a lot of different ways for a lot of different people, and that's okay. Me, personally, I want to understand what it is I came to earth to do, gather all the knowledge, wisdom, piece it together for my soul. That way I can vibrate at a higher frequency for the next level that I go to, wherever that may be. People will tell you all kinds of different things. We're not going to go into a whole bunch of things on that. But the spirituality path is what we're discovering. I think there's never one final answer, in my opinion. And we can make a whole video on the depths of that. But horses can help you define your spiritual path. And I'm here to tell you it's a beautiful experience, because you'll start to see through lenses at anything you want to discover in a different way. And meaning, when you understand laws of nature, you understand rhythm, you understand harmony, agreement, cause and effect. We could go on and on. I've made videos on all of them. It'll give you the sense and understanding where it merges together through the experiences of what your spiritual path is, what you're called to earth to do. There's all kinds of different things we could dive into, but I'll just speak for me. I like to serve. I like to help people transition from where they are, maybe on the ground, to where they want to be, on the back of a horse. I like to help them transition from a dark place in their life where they feel defeated to an enlightened place in their life where they feel courageous and victorious. Those are what I like to do. I like to help a horse that's not understanding people. Maybe they've been mistreated. Maybe they've just been miscommunicated. I like to help them understand what it is they got called to earth to do. Help them ascend in a conscious level. She's fine out there in the wild running. She could do it. She understands the laws of nature. She understands procreation. She understands all of those things. But to come into the human element correctly, and I present something to her, and then she's opening her mind. And she says, yeah, I do want to learn. I am curious. I haven't been curious like this before. Or maybe I haven't thought this thought before, or felt this feeling before. That's an ascension in conscious awareness. Horse gets a deeper understanding of themselves in the human element. Maybe she did feel fear, but I could help her through that. And she's like, wow, on the other side of this fear is something really beautiful. I got to hear the heartbeat of a 12-year-old child, and I got to help it resonate and heal. And I got to help it vibrate at a higher frequency. And I got to witness and be a part of something much higher than myself. And then we come into this understanding together to where we both realize, wow, we're equals. I couldn't do what I do without you. You couldn't do what we're doing without me. That's a conscious awareness ascension. We get to become something greater than each of us individually as we do this together. And it's playing, it's not working, and then it becomes joy, and then there's happiness, and then our relationship grows and develops into something much stronger. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to ask her to back up. It is a cold day, a little tense. But staying in this frame, I put some cones up so where I could stay in the frame and show you these things. Cinnamon's a walker. She has a big, beautiful stride. So in our conversations in the 5 obstacles, we can move freely, not restrained. This is kind of a restraint exercise. Pinpointed, turn here, backing up cues and questions. You'll see tensions arise, and then you got to stop and relax and more often. And that's okay. To make this video, I set up this little space so that I could show you, give you a fractal of information on a much bigger, grander scale of what you could do to create what it is you're imagining. See, I think what does separate us from the animals is we have the ability to imagine something. That's like on the astral plane. We can go into videos on that, but to imagine something, you know, a wild horse out in the wild, and I want to imagine that I'm on her back riding around and cruising through earth together, unrestricted. I don't have a bridle on her to pull her around. I don't have spurs to gig her. I don't have whips to force her to do anything. I have my body and her communicating in a harmony and balance. Inputs, feedback loop, mind to mind. If I can start thinking things and she picks up on thought energy and starts doing it without me ever having to physically do it. Conscious ascension, the spiritual path, you know, where does that information come from? How does that connection happen? You know, how does mind to mind happen? How does a thought come into reality? How does it manifest? How do laws of repetition play into it? You know, all these questions start arising, and then answers start coming. And the horses are just such a beautiful animal to help us practice. You know, I wrote a book, A Horse to Guide Me, and it's basically on the things that I'm showing you in these videos, but it's like the experience that you're going to get from this creation. You know, this horse started as a thought, and then it's manifest into a reality, and then it's like, okay, cool. What for? Why? Let's find the why. And it's like, well, if the horse was taken out of the, you know, the variable of the horse was taken out of the equation, what would the outcome be? Well, maybe you could do it with a dog or a whale or, you know, a camel or, you know, whatever. But this horse has a very distinct, realistic evidence of allowing us to ride them, to move with them, to breathe with them. We share in everything but that imagination piece. That's what I found so far. But maybe she does imagine some things. I mean, I'm not going to say they don't. It's just my research so far is everything's the same. Our fingernails, our hooves, our blood, our bones, our guts, our food. I mean, all of these things, vitamins, minerals, I mean, everything's the same. Hair, you know, brain, heart. It's all pretty much the same. And then we have the ability to imagine something and invite them into that. But you could imagine all you want, but if it wasn't for this creation to come in and help you observe it, experience it, manifest it into a reality, it's just such a beautiful thing. And I hope that you can glean something from this video. I didn't jump up here to be like, oh, look how great I am, or anything like that. In fact, I don't even really do this much with her as often as I should. But it does, I hope this video displays how intelligent these animals are, these horses, that they can come up to this level and show us these things. I promise you this, Cinnamon taught me this. She would have something in her hand, so to speak. And if I wanted it, you know, if I wanted it out of there, I had to ask, and she would open it willingly. I couldn't force it. I couldn't take it. I couldn't pry it over. Sorry. Couldn't pry it out of her. And it's a really beautiful thing. I'm going to come down. It's starting to get cold up there. I'm sorry, Cinnamon. I'm giving you all these inputs, and I'm tense and cold. I love summer. This is December 24th, by the way. It's a little chilly today, and that's okay. I really felt this video could do you some good as a nice way to end 2024. Again, you can check out Harley's video where we had the trailer. He comes out. We go through the ground exercises, you could call it, but it's ground communication. 5 levels of horsemanship, our first being groom for mindset. Before I ever interacted with this horse, I groomed my mindset. I want an open mindset. Basically, I want to make a video, but I want to ask her to help me make the video. I can't force her to do anything. You just witnessed, unedited. I did not do any ropes. I didn't do any saddles or whips or spurs or equipment. You know, it's a lot of people, it's okay to use equipment, but we're depending on that equipment less and less as time goes on. Every horse I ride, if I'm in a bridle, if I'm in a saddle, I'm depending on that stuff less and less as time goes on. In the micro of the day and in the macro of a lifetime with the horse. I like to ride whiskey in a bridle. It's there if I need it, but I pick up on it about 6 times in a 3-hour ride. It's not that important, so to speak, but it's there if I need it. It increases the ability to communicate so that there's no confusion in the horse, no tension put into the body. As we grow in this ascension process, you depend on that stuff less and less. Time goes on. You can add equipment in, but you depend on it less in time. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully you understand that. I just tried to give you a demo of how you can ask horse questions on the ground. As if she was a wild horse, 5-part series, ask her to back up, ask her to move to the left, to the right, 2 and 3, come forward, 4, ground tie, we don't have a rope, rub her to a stop, relax, release tension in the body, tension in the mind. A stop exercise, we've talked about that in other videos. Stop exercise allows the processes to come up, allows the body to calibrate again, the thoughts, the emotions, the attitude, the action, all synchronize with me, within herself, within myself, together, feedback loop. As you practice this, you start to gain a superpower. You can start to do things away from the horse in the 5 main areas of your life. You're not going to be forcing them. You're going to be changing things within you, presenting to the world, and attracting what it is you need. It doesn't matter what you need. My wife and I, we have a 28-year relationship, marriage. We go on a walk. Every morning we walk. We talk. About what? Doesn't matter. Anything. But then we start focusing on things that we want to enhance in our life, whether it be our health, whether it be our wealth, whether it be our happiness, our relationship, our spirituality. We do that. Why? The game of life. Learn how to not get hurt, learn how to benefit. The most unique quality in a human is consistency. Why? We do it consistently. We make course corrections through the day. That stock chart, where it starts, and then tiny little decisions throughout each day, you're either going to trend up, you're going to trend lateral, you're going to trend down. Based on time, that's going to paint a picture. You can basically start charting your life today. After this video, start writing things down. I want to do this. Do it again tomorrow. It's a template today that you're creating. You move that template over to tomorrow and you start making changes. Hold on to what's good, get rid of it's not. And if we want to give it a value judgment, hold on to what you want, get rid of what you don't want. Same thing I do on a micro scale with horses. Each day there's a process and there's consistency. I'm going to ask her specific questions to get desired results. I'm going to make changes. I'm going to keep asking. See, words have a lot of value, a lot of meaning. I'm not going to force her to submit with pain, do it or else. I'm going to ask her with what? Pressure. I'm going to apply some pressure. Scale of 1 to 10. I'll start soft. It's just like if I wanted her to move to me, I'm not going to touch her, but I'm going to put some pressure on this hip. Put some pressure. Create some draw. Ground tie, rubber to a stop. Don't have a rope, but that's okay. And then it's wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. Get into the rhythm, get into the timing, get into a vibrational frequency, attract her to me. If I want to say, hey, come here, come here, come here. Good job. Let's go over here. Draw, come to me. Stop. Good job. What is the benefit for her? She got to answer questions with pressure. She got a release of that pressure. Trigger body responsive relaxation, tension in the mouth release, transfers to the muscles in the body, heart settles down, lungs settle down, stabilize. Not short, shallow breathing. Big, deep breath. I take a big, deep breath with her. We synchronize. Wash, rinse, repeat. That's practice. Then things start to get revealed to you because you're studying yourself, guys. You're presenting yourself to the horse. I am the instrument. I'm not the bridle. I'm not the saddle. I'm not the spurs. I'm not the whip. Justin is the instrument presenting to Cinnamon. Cinnamon is the observer of Justin, and vice versa. I observe her. She'll do things. I'll do things. We start to synchronize and harmonize, agree. When you hand over your will to the horse, they won't be mean about it. They're true. They're honest. They don't have any preconceived notions about you unless you give them some, or unless somebody else does, and then you get a horse from that. That's a whole nother video. And you can change that because you can change the thoughts. You can change the behavior. But as you practice this and it gets into a feedback loop, it's recognized. It's a harmony, agreement. And then whenever you say you do put somebody else up here, they're going to do things different. I always coach my people. So it's like, well, you're going to have to feel this, feel that, she'll adapt. And then they have a unique relationship feedback loop going. And then I go back in and then I got to go, oh, okay, so they were really heavy on you as far as pressures. I'll change. So that template, see, that template gets moved each day. It's not ever going to stay the same. The only thing constant in this life, Earth, is change. That's it. There's laws of compounding. That's probably the strongest force in nature. You know, like a river flowing down and you know, whittling away a rock, water running over a rock, eroding that rock. It's a compounding effect. Just like finances, you know, you put in and you get interest, you know, that's a compounding effect. You eat good food, compounding effect. You eat bad food, compounding effect. All of these variables, all of these things tie in to create your reality, your existence. Same thing with this horse, but it's so beautiful because we get the microcosm of this. I get to like play with it in real time, the cause and effect. The time is decreased. That's probably the only way people really understand time is cause and effect, if you think about it. And I haven't really thought all this way through, but let's just think about it for a second. Since I'm making this video for myself when I'm 80 years old, it's like a cause and effect. Sometimes you'll do something on that micro scale in a day that's going to have an effect 10 years from now. And that's hard to understand because a lot of distractions come in. So it's easy to get off course. But I've had this horse for 10 years. So all of the causes I did 10 years ago, I can see some of the effects today. I had not done this with this horse in months, we'll just say. I know it's been months. So I walk out to ask her to come with me, but I'm consistent in everything that I do up until the point I got on her back. So the cause and the effect, 10 years later, it's recognized. In other words, yeah, I go through my 5 levels. I'm going to groom for mindset, establish communication, transfer to her back, go through the obstacles of solving problems together, real world focused riding where we get in a feedback loop and understand outside influences have nothing to do with our feedback loop. Well, I went to ask her to come with me. I didn't rush it. I created a draw, attract her to me. She put her own head in the halter. I don't have to pull her with a rope. She already knows to follow me. So we just walk over to the iron rail. We do grooming for mindset, literally. I brush her body, brush her hair. I synchronize with her, breathe with her, pick her hooves for the dirt out of her hooves. We don't run horseshoes. She's natural. So it's like, yeah, let's clean those up. I'm running through the processes of making this video. So I'm with her, but I'm not 100% with her. And I'm aware of that. And then I bring her over and it's like, okay, let's start the video. And then you saw, so I don't really have to go through that, but the cause from 10 years ago, I'm understanding the effect today, and the time in there is relevant to that. So you can understand like all those little tiny incremental things we've done in every session or every engagement, even with other people being put in there, is the reality today. Can look at the past, can look into the future, but today is the most important. This present moment brings me right into the present. And then it's like, okay, so 10 years from now, what will we be doing? Well, let's focus on today because it prepares us for the future. So I know to ask her certain questions a certain way based on past experiences, but I can try to become better. It's like, well, what if I could just think it and it happens? Yeah, let's do that. And there was some times where I was thinking about asking her to do something. She did it anyway. And it's like, I can't really tell on the video that I thought that and she did that, because it's like, she did that on her own. But I'm telling you guys, these guys will pick up on stuff, like her walking away right now. They'll pick up on stuff and you go, wow, where did that come from? How did that work? Why did she do that? Because I only barely thought that and she did it. And then it's like, wait, I didn't really want that to happen, but it did. And that's where we go back to the feedback loop. How well is your feedback loop? Controlling the 4 things you can't control, presenting to your horse, not really worried about outside influences as far as you're aware of them. You're not focusing any energy on them. And you're in this 100% engaged feedback loop to where you, through law of repetition, you do it so much that one day you're going to notice You're going to go, whoa, I thought this without even having to ask to do it. And she did it, or he did it. And then you're like, okay, so there's something to this. Let's keep going. And as you're on that path, it becomes clearer. And as you align the 5 main areas of your life, and you really create a feedback loop that is so strong, so synchronized, that any vibrational frequency difference they're going to notice, you're going to notice. Sometimes they're subtle, sometimes they're obvious. But it's like, okay, we're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep going. And then you'll have a thought, and then it just happens. And then you'll go, well, okay, did that really happen? Maybe it's coincidence. No, it's a synchronicity, I'm telling you. It's not a coincidence. You do it again, and then you start to develop an awareness, a conscious ascension in awareness. And you go, I can actually think this, and they'll do it. Yes. And then you convince yourself, because seeing is believing, I struggle with everything that you're going to struggle with. I do. But then I'm like, okay, this really worked. And the dividends paid off. The time investment, dividends are here. 10 years later, it's like cause and effect, the time it took, law of compensation, all these factor in. And man, I hope I'm not confusing you by dumping all this into this little video, and we could break each piece down. And if you're confused on anything and you're taking notes, write in the comments, and I will elaborate on whatever it is you want, because clarity through engagement is how you're going to really get it. But I want to help you the best I can. And kind of lost the trail that I was tracking on, but it's one of those things. They'll do some things to ask you questions, and then it'll help you discover answers you didn't even know to ask the question, if that makes sense. Because when you jump on this path, and that's the spirituality piece, you jump on this trail or on this path, it's an unknown path. And in my 5 levels of obstacles, I have one, and we discussed that. This is an unknown. This exercise, this obstacle, you're looking at the ground in an unknown path, and you're syncing up in mind and body to where that horse will follow that imaginary line. And that's an unknown path until you're on it. And then it's known, because then you can look back and see in the dirt where you went. That's a pretty cool thing. But anyway, not to steer off onto that, we can make a video on that. You will develop an understanding in yourself, in your horse, that's so deep, the only way it could ever happen is the engagement. So these tiny little increments in the day, they're going to compound over time. They're going to reveal, that horse is going to reveal things to you. You're going to reveal things to your horse. You're going to reveal things to yourself. They're going to reveal things to themselves. And that's that harmony. That's that agreement. Everybody wants ascension. Everything. I mean, from the lowest life form to the highest. The carrot wants to serve. The mineral wants to serve. I mean, it's like to come to earth is to serve. And you're going to discover and become enlightened in the service that you provide. In the financial world, you're compensated in the service you provide. You can only charge in direct relation to what service you provide for somebody, what value you offer them. So what do? You become valuable. Horses will help guide us in that, in a micro scale. Through law of repetition, you become more valuable in all areas of your life. I am a life coach, in case you hadn't figured that out now. We do have American Mustang School, and it's life coaching through the practice of horsemanship. It's a sacred art, meaning that it is a secret. But I'm not hiding it. I'll tell you, I'll tell anybody. It's just a secret because not a lot of people know about it. They don't have access to horses. They definitely don't have access to wild Mustang horses that are uninterrupted by man, out there in nature, connected so strong to nature that you will vibrate at such a different frequency if you're disconnected from nature, which a lot of programming conditioning has taught people. And I'm here to tell you, you are nature. A human being is nature. You thrive in nature when you align in the laws of nature. Hey, come here. Come here. What are you looking at? Come here. What are you looking at over there? Don't you want to be part of the video? It's almost over. She's like, no, I want to go back and look at that. Well, I'll ask her again, because we're getting ready to say bye. Push that hip. Come here. Come here. All right, stop right here. Good job. Good job. Say bye-bye to the camera, Cinnamon. I don't know what's got her attention over there. Oh, my neighbors are probably cutting trees. I heard the chainsaw a while ago. Guys, I hope that you enjoyed this. I make these videos for myself, but I also want you to get something from them too. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. Like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow. My goal was to get to 1,000 subscribers in 1 year, 2024. We exceeded that. Cool. I want to share my horses with you. I share them with other people. I have 8, and I plan to do more videos and bring more information. And if you have any questions, please put them in there. I wrote a book. I'll put that link in the comments if you're interested in reading a book that I wrote. It's called A Horse to Guide Me. And I just don't know what else to say. I've had a lot of fun doing this today. I want to make a lot of videos like this to where it really kind of enlightens you in the sacred art of horsemanship, the beauty that horsemanship can give us. It's not widely taught, and then it's definitely not widely known. So thank you for watching, and have a great day.